o'clock, and it's March 4th, 2024, and we're calling this special work session of the Nissa School Board. We're calling meeting to order. Are there any changes or amendments to the agenda?
I'd like to put on hold 4 if possible. Number 4 if possible. That's what contract. I do have it, I received it later, and I just wanted to do some review of
Okay,
it,
so we want to move that to,
yeah, just support me, it'll be ready, so.
okay, so we'll move
But I
that.
just want to give one final before presenting to you guys, and this is what you'll see at the board, so.
Okay, so we'll move that to our regular board meeting.
Yes.
Is it wanting to be approved at the board meeting?
Yeah, yep,
Okay, would you mind sending us that copy before?
yeah, yeah. Oh, as soon as I get it done, I'll send it, yes.
Okay, are there any other changes? Hearing none, then we will adopt the agenda as amended. We'll move on to our business portion and the statement of economic interest.
All right, bring you exciting news here. Madam Chair, thanks for giving me an opportunity to visit. Superintendent Hawkins asked me to come in and visit with you guys about the statement of economic interest. I actually think I was here last year this time and talked to you all about it. Dustin, I don't think you were here then, so bear with me. I'll give them a little bit of the history and lead up to it, kind of where we're at now. So the House bill that passed, it was 4114. I handed it out to you. The only change you'll see in that is on the third page in the middle there where it's bolded. And that's the long list of public officials that have to complete the statement of economic interest. So before this was enacted, Crystal will attest to it, all superintendents and all business managers have to fill out what's called the statement of economic interest. It's put out there by the Oregon Government Ethics Commission, and in 2022 they added school boards to it. And so it was last year this time that came out, kind of a surprise email to all, and got a lot of people all fired up. And for those of you who remember, this time last year it was the long session, and there was a bill going through the legislature that was going to allow smaller school districts, school boards to not have to do that. And, because it's hard to find board members, not all places, but it's hard to find board members, especially out here. And so that was going through the session, and I can't remember, it was a walkout last year, I think, and it basically ended it. So that was going to prevent this from happening. There's an April 15th due date on it. And so that was in the middle of the session. So while we were leading up to that, one of the options to school boards at the time was to resign. And if you had a school board that resigned in mass, so you lost your quorum, by statute, the ESD board can reappoint. So we had 4 boards last year do that: Ventura, A-Rock, Oregon Valley, and Nissa. The other boards, Vail, Adrian, Harper, Ontario, and even actually McDermott, there's a board down there, went ahead and just went through it. Some people, there's 2 sides to it. Some people feel it's kind of a little bit invasion of privacy, and others are like, you know what, I'll just do it. So that is still in statute. It's still required for all school boards to do that. If you don't get an email this week, I would expect you to get it next week. It usually is that first couple of weeks of March, and it will have a due date of the 15th of April on it. Because it's now in law, there's nothing in session to bypass it. It is a thing now, and it's going to be an every year deal. And so I've been talking to school boards. I've talked to Ventura, I've talked to A-Rock, I haven't talked to George Valley yet. And just saying, you know what, it's probably a bad practice for us to keep resigning and then coming back on and resigning and coming. the state's gonna catch on to that real quick, and, you run the risk of losing, when the school board resigns and loses a quorum, you still have a little bit of local control, because your local ESD board can come in and reappoint. But if the legislature sees what folks are doing, and if we continue this, they're gonna put it in there to where it's not the ESD board anymore, and they can put it so that it's the State Board of Education appointing the boards, and it can probably, who knows where it's gonna go. So I've been mentioning the boards that it is probably a good idea to go ahead and, kind of bite the bullet on this one. I think you have a lot of your fellow board, hopefully colleagues, that you reach out to, and Adrian or Val, that will tell you how it was for them. Honestly, if you don't have a business, it's quite simple. But if you have a business, there's a box on there that, you know, check if you have a business, check if you don't. I don't have a business, so I just go to the next question. I don't know what happens when you check that box that says I have a business. I don't know how detailed it gets, because I've never watched it myself. I've never had a board member show me. So I just wanted to present that to you all and encourage you that if you're still a little apprehensive about it, there are 5 board members in Adrian and 5 in Vail that did it last year, and even Harper, and seemed to, you know, they survived. I don't think we lost any board members from any of those. It just said, you know, we did. I think we did lose one up in Annex, though. We did. So I'm here to answer questions, make suggestions. You know, if a board did resign in mass, I mean, my ESD's gonna step in and do what they need to do, but I am really worried that if that keeps going like that, the state will take that money. It will cause issues down the road. So that's my recommendation. I'm here to I'll answer whatever questions you guys have. It's not the most exciting news, but it is the law. And I know we have one board member in the county that actually waited to resign last year until actually on April 15th. And the Government Ethics Commission said you had to do it before the 15th. So they read it literally. And he ended up doing it anyway, but there's still a fine on his record. And, you know, the superintendent is going back and forth a little bit with the Government Ethics Commission to try to get that taken off, but it does exist. So I'm open to questions. Just don't throw stuff at me.
That's why you're sitting over there.
Yeah. Yeah. I would suggest that if you guys do it, and I talked to Chris, ask Crystal permission for the boards that have been most successful, because it's a federal government website, or it's just like a federal government. It's a pain in the butt to get in there, get your login, do triple authentication with the phone and all that. If you guys, it sounds like you guys all have iPads as a board, and coming in like on a work session like next month, and coming in and having Crystal just walk you through it, seems to be the easiest way from what I've heard as feedback from boards. And the hardest part is going to be hanging on and remembering that password, because you actually come up and leave. And like I said, we should all get the email. Ryan, do it, Crystal, do it, either this week or next, and it'll be in April 15th.
Can we just come into your office and have you do it again?
Absolutely.
It'll be a party. It'll be fun.
Oh, you probably have to do it anyway.
I just said no.
Yeah, you don't, you don't.
I'm not a director of
Oh, really?
But anybody.
I've done it, I did it last year.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah.
I mean, as of this year, everybody with business has to file with the federal government anyway.
Oh, they're taking
Essentially,
that road.
disclosure, yeah. And it's not for this purpose, it's just anybody who owns a business. Period, those in effect. So.
The last year, you know, I heard all kinds of stuff on it. I did hear, like, I think some individuals that have businesses and they have business partners, they actually, as part of that agreement, sign non-disclosure agreements on who your business partners are.
I'm running through. I've got 3 other partners, so.
It's not so much yourself, it's who you tied in with you.
I think I would just encourage everybody, when you do it, look at the actual statute cited that you have, that gives the information you have to disclose, because online they're asking for more information than what the statute requires. So, take a look at it. I'm gonna be filing mine in a paper format instead of electronic, and just of what the statute requires. Yeah, they're asking more than what's required, so. They were last year, we haven't looked at it this year.
Well, I will tell you that Noble is not very happy about this.
Oh, yeah, we talked last year about it, yeah.
So,
Yeah, we're stuck. I mean, it's just one of those things. So, sorry about it. And it's not me.
Now I know why you sat here.
Yeah,
A chair
yeah.
away from Jeremy and a chair away from Pat.
Yeah. So,
It's not Mark.
yeah.
well, Mark, I appreciate all the really bad news. I mean, I.
You're welcome, you're welcome. Next time I gotta do 21 good things for every one bad thing, right? Isn't that the rule? So I got 21, talk about preschools and all kinds of stuff like that, they're good stuff.
You better tell us again, I think that'll work.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I mean, just don't be surprised when you see that email come across you, because it's gonna get here.
Well, and I mean, obviously, as a board, hopefully we can all get together and make a decision, but Mark's here, I'm here, I support all of us staying on, I'll be honest with you, what we got going on, I know it's kind of tough, but we're in a good direction, and I would hope that we as a board got together and got it done. But again, you make your family decisions, although we talk to Mark. But no, it's just one of those things, right, as a board.
Because last year, 5 people resigned. I think Don and everyone. So,
Yeah, if you guys keep your quorum, so you have at least 4 people, and then you know, you still have the board. Those 4 would appoint your incoming board members, and it needs to be the state still look after it. But where we lost the quorum last year is why we were involved. Okay.
Thank you.
I'll leave on that good note.
Good answer.
All right, you guys have a good night. Take care.
Well, the parking lot's still lit.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
If there are no questions for Mark, then we'll move on to the early literacy grant.
Appreciate it. So the early literacy grant, if you guys remember, we presented this in October for a study session and November in the study session. December, we brought it up to the board meeting where I presented it again. We left it open for public comment, and it cannot be on the consent agenda. However, there's one step that I failed to do, and we had to make a motion on it, and so take action on it. And so it's here that I'm hoping that in our study session, we can actually take action on it, so I can just, that's kind of the final piece with the state on the grant to start getting our funds, so. Questions about that?
So all we need to do is approve it, because you've already
Yeah.
presented it,
Yep.
you've already gone through it.
Yep.
So, since we are in a special meeting, we can make motions and do I hear a motion on the early literacy grant?
Yes. I move to. All right, so moved.
A second.
We got there.
Dustin has moved that we accept the early literacy grant. Jeremy seconded the motion. All those in favor? Motion carries.
this is actually just kind of a FYI for you guys as the board. Matt and Don have been working on this. It's called the Stronger Connections Grant. And it comes from a larger pot of money from the federal government that they gave to each state. And so really the purpose of the grant is to look at healthier and safer learning environments through mental health services, curriculum, systems to monitor behavior, social, those kind of things. And so that's what the Stronger Connections Grant is. We were one of the districts that qualified for it. They're eligible. And so this is kind of all of, in this packet right here, this goes through all of those things, all of the little things. And so we are eligible for 2 years, $750,000 up to, doesn't mean we'll get approved for that, but up to $750,000 for 2 years. And so they submitted this grant last week. And in that grant, there are 3 pieces to it. One is to hire, and we are calling it a social worker, resource navigator, more kind of wraparound services, helping connect families with Lifeways, with those things, help coordinate those activities. But so we're playing around with that, but looking at social worker-ish kind of a person, mental health and that. Then we're looking to purchase a K-12 SEL curriculum, social emotional learning, which is called Stronger Connections. And so what we did, I mean, we went bells and whistles, right, to see if we could get the max money towards us. But this could be pared down. And right now, the elementary and some of our elementary parents, you guys may have seen some things from the Character Strong curriculum. Really amazing curriculum, what it does for teachers and parents. It really lays out things really nicely. And so we want to extend that to K-12 and have a one consistent message. This is what we expect our students in this to act. And then the last part is an indirect rate for that. So, and you'll notice all federal grants come with an indirect rate for our business office, kind of basically to be able to manage those things. So that is the 2-minute overview of the Stronger Connections Grant, but I just wanted you guys to be informed about it. Should actually be really cool for a community and be able to give us a lot of power and things.
So what happens after 2 years?
Great question. Well, what we're going to, kind of like if we look at these other positions, we're going to reevaluate and saying, is this worth it, right? And is it something that we want to shift some money towards? And but I think we reevaluate after 2 years.
So this,
Not that I'm aware. Yep. Great question.
so the social worker that we would hire would know that it's only 2 years.
Yep. Very explicitly stated. It's 2 years and we'll be reevaluating.
The curriculum we provide, we have, correct?
So with the Character Strong curriculum, it comes with 2 libraries, and so we'll have the libraries of books that support those things. But a lot of the curriculum is online.
Right.
And so, obviously after 2 years, that license will go away, but the libraries we will still have. Yes?
Mr. Hoggins, since we submitted the grant last week, what's their timeline on when we're figuring out if we are awarded money?
That's a great question. I didn't know, to be honest with you. It's probably in there somewhere.
And this budget that's in here,
Yeah,
that's what.
that's the exact one, yep. And that shows you exactly what we submitted,
Right.
so, yep. So,
So it's just for employment of, the other type of things, Chris, kind of, March.
what do you mean?
Like, just for a person coming here to do this, or you do programs?
You can do programs, you can do anything that really drive towards the main goal is kind of mental health and safety of our schools and our, so anything that we society that would kind of fall into, that's what we put in here. But you can't, obviously, it says in there, gift cards and those things for rewards you can't do, but other things like that you actually can. So. And so what we did was we met as an admin team, we really looked at the data, we looked at 2 different curriculums and said, hey, what is the need, and so as a group, we came together and said, this is kind of what we wanted. And so it wasn't just Matt and John, yeah, whatever, let's throw something. It was They actually talked to a bunch of people and said, this is what the district is. Sorry.
So how are you going to measure the success of this?
Great question. I haven't answered for that yet. So that's something we gotta look at, especially,
Lessening the crisis modes of the kids in
Right, but how
class.
can you measure that? I mean, to actually,
yeah, and I would say, and looking at a K-12 social emotional curriculum, really having that one kind of message throughout, like, this is what it means for this, what character means, and we should see that start bleeding through, and behaviors start going down. I will say Jennifer Patterson was here last week, and she was just commendable about how extremely awesome our kids are, right? But it's that environment. Every kid in the hallway was telling her, hi, good morning. Like, that's what we want to see, and I know that's kind of one of those unmeasurable things, like who tells me good morning this morning. But we should start seeing it there, which obviously will drop down referrals, those things. We've had an increase in kind of safety evaluations this year for threats, for self-harm, for those things, and we want to see an impact of that. Right, so if we do have somebody helping connect to those outside resources, we shouldn't get to a place of that. And so we want to see a decrease in those things.
So what do you want to do to get those decreases?
So that's what this is, right? Is we really start looking at kind of the whole child and the whole environment of the school, attacking it there, but also attaching somebody to get it. Because we have a student that actually, is going to get their GED. Saying, we want somebody to follow that student. Saying, are you going to counseling? Do you need help with this? If it is somebody that has a drug and alcohol problem, let's connect them with Lifeways. Make sure they get there. I have a family that just lost their housing, and DHS is working with them. Jacoby on the McKinney-Vento is doing something, but there are so many different resources, as Maribel knows, and helping them connect with those resources and saying, now we don't have as many kids in crisis because we are taking care of them. And so that's kind of the goal.
So would this social worker person like go into classrooms or counsel kids?
More counseling kids and.
Like if there was a bullying program,
Yeah.
problem in a third grade,
Yep.
would they go talk to the third grade teachers?
And I think we'd be an advocate as well and talk to them, saying, hey, this kiddo is having some really hard time with it, and help connect, maybe Rachel Robb at the elementary, connect them to the counselor, because there's those kiddos that don't have that advocate and that voice that just say, they do need help, so.
So it'd be more like a mentor, not necessarily a counselor per se?
Yeah, I mean, when we say social worker, right, I mean, it's kind of this catch-all term, wraparound services,
Yeah.
right? It can be a mentor and doing it, checking in, and so oftentimes we see that, when we have, say, a safety evaluation, they need to go here, here, and there. Now, who's following up with this person? Are you checking with that, right? I mean, and really attaching that person to that family and that kid to help them through the process and make sure that they don't fall through the cracks on it. Because we do see that, that when we do set that up, right, we get really good fidelity, right? I mean, they're going, everything's going really well, and then they blow out again and say, what happened? Oh, well, they didn't go to counseling last 2 months. Oh, they have this, everything going. And so it's somebody to really attach to that, to really, to check in with the parents. How's everything going? That counseling is worth it, I decided to stop it. I've heard that, right? And so it is really to catch all those kids.
Like a victim advocate?
Oh, yeah, yes.
do we have any other questions for Ryan on this grant?
When did you say we hear? You guys were saying.
March
March
15th, yeah.
couple weeks.
But yeah, this is cool, and like I said, we did ask for the full amount, $750. If we get it, great, if not, then we'll, like I said, the Character Strong, we'll cut down on the curriculum, and we have every bell and whistle attached to that, but, so that's what we're hoping.
So basically though, if you got 750,000, or if we got 750, it would be split for
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, so it's
half,
3
1 year and
years.
half.
Right, 375.
Any other questions? Then we will move on to the DEI job description.
It's like Groundhog Day. Sorry. So, we, wanted to highlight a couple areas in the DDI job description before we really posted it and looked at it. The number 25, if you look, number 25, 26, and 27 are some big changes. We really wanted to, and I was talking to Madam Chairman, this is when we talked about saying this is a certificated position, so what are the things in there that make it certificated? And we talked about like if I teach classes or parents on various activity signs. So one thing, we expect them to go into classes and talk about diversity, inclusion, and equity. Number 26, leads and participates in the district equity committee. 27, develops and applies the district equity lens tool in policy, curriculum, and operations, and becomes, when we as a board are looking at those things, will help us use that tool. We have a really great example from Multnomah, and so that person would be in charge of that. So we want to really justify this. This should be a certificated person. We do have that part on the job posting saying, this is what we prefer, but we're not going to limit to just a 4-year degree. So, but those are the things. That's why we justify it being a teacher. But other than that, everything else is the same. And so I just kind of one final check before we go live with it.
When you talk about going live, if this is satisfactory, what are you talking?
Posting it,
Yes,
starting to gather applicants.
As of when?
So we'll get it going. We have at least 10 days. I don't know if we'll get hired this year being a certificated person, but it will probably be for the 24-25 school year, as most people with a teaching degree or that can apply for one are usually in jobs right now. So, but if there's a unicorn hiding and they're ready to go now, we'll hire them now. We do have those funds available, and so we would like to get it done now. But however, we realize kind of the time of year.
And they have to be bilingual.
That's part of it, right? I mean, we really took that Latinx position and morphed it to really more encompass what our community needs. But it's still, the core of it is still that connection with our Latin community and Hispanic communities. And so I think it is extremely important that we have something of that caliber. So.
So we have other questions?
Did we need to vote on it so you can
No.
post it, or?
No, we don't have to vote on it. Unless you guys want to vote on it, I mean, it's totally up to you. We've done it in the past, but it's totally up to you if you'd like to vote on it. Just move forward.
I'm just scanning this, but does it say anywhere that this year, it's not required, but as of July 1st, a certificate will be issued?
So on the, if you look on certificates, license, and registration,
Oh,
obtain various certificates, license, registration by federal and state local determined by the district. It doesn't explicitly say on there, like, we kind of carry you until July, but that's why we left it open.
Oh,
And that's more on the job post.
Yeah.
So.
oh, okay.
If you guys feel comfortable voting on it, that would be great. We can move forward. I know Crystal has been, we need to spend this money. I would like to go forward as soon as we can, but it's totally up to you guys' comfort levels. And like I said, Mrs. Warnock and I have been talking about, here are the things we need. If you guys see anything else, this is a good time. Or you can tell me tomorrow too.
Typically, we have not voted on job descriptions.
Yeah. But I think this one is so closely tied to the board. I think it's important because we do expect them to help advise us on the diversity, equity, and inclusivity of our policies and things. And so that's why, it's really important for us to get this right and to be a good resource for us. So.
In that case, if we would like to vote on it, can we do that at our regular meeting? That would give us all a chance to go through this thoroughly and to ask any questions or to bring up anything we see as
vision. of
It
this.
absolutely is broad, and I think one thing is that tool is so important for us, is we look at, like, when we say, you know, we use this lens to look at our policy. They actually will go through, is this equitable to everybody? How do we make sure this, we can, all members can access this policy? What does this mean for this group, that person will go through that. You know, you take that same thing and you go look at curriculum. And it's that same process through it. And so, but then what we start doing is when they go through that process, saying, hey, there is actually a big gap in our curriculum. Maybe this is something we can improve on. So then they'll make recommendations. How do we improve that program? I don't see it as somebody going in and saying, oh, we're going to push this agenda. It is really to look at that lens and looking at those groups and be advocates for that and saying, is there something we can do that we're missing as far as policy? Or, because we don't really have an equity statement as a district, and that would be something that we want them to look at. And so that, it's not agenda driven, like, it's not, you guys need to go do this or that. It is, we need to look at our marginalized populations, our Hispanic populations, what can we're not reaching them, what can we do, right? How do they feel? And I look at my migrant student lunches, we talk about those things, right? How do you feel at school? Do you think you're supported as a migrant student? And so it is asking those questions.
So I guess I'll just put it all out on the table, my thoughts on it. I do think everybody should be included, but I don't want to see somebody making recommendations of, let's chop the curriculum here. We've seen it in other parts of the country. These are our bottom learners, so we're going to chop the curriculum so everybody is learning at this level. I don't want to see that happen in this. If anything, more education.
And that's exactly bolstering those things, filling in the holes, not
Okay.
taking away from it.
Good.
So,
In that case, I'll be fine with it.
yeah, but absolutely.
If everyone's comfortable with that, then we'll review this and then talk again about it at our regular meeting on Monday. In a week. Next item, negotiations.
So we have notification from both groups that they would like to negotiate. Obviously, their contracts are up. What I'd like to do, especially the classified just got it to us today, the certified gave us back in the end of January. And so I would like to meet with at least the certified before spring break to do the, if you guys remember, right, we do, what are the ground rules, what are the dates, those kind of things. It's the initial one. It's not the, okay, we're going to start going. But I'd like to get that established. But as a board, who would like to be on those? If we talked last time is that, I think, were you on the certified with me? Was certified?
I can't remember which one it was.
Anyway, and that's exactly like who's going to be on what and who would like to participate in those. It is, I mean, it could be time intensive. It kind of just depends on where we're at. But there's going to be some studying, and I'm going to get both of those groups together separately, obviously, and let them know kind of what we have, what my vision is, and shape that before we go into the meetings this year. And so we're on the same page, and this is what we want. And so, who would like to be on the classified, and who would like to be on the certified?
Well, I can't get a class.
That's true. So, would you like to be on the certified?
How many do you want? John? Two?
2 or 3.
Well, you can only have a maximum of 3.
Yeah. So,
I did the classified last time, I'll do classified again.
And what days of the week are these meetings? You never know?
that's what we're going to establish.
Okay.
So, it's kind of up to both sides.
My schedule's more flexible on Fridays, and I can help.
So, would you like to
Or
do that?
afternoons, if it's during the week. Wherever, whichever.
I was on both last time.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to be on that?
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
Whatever,
What would you like to do?
I don't really care.
on our memories.
I know, it's. So if I have on certified, Donnie, Susie, and Maribel, will that work? Are you guys okay with that? And then classified, I have Pat, Susie, and Megan.
Not me.
You can do classified.
Well, I was gonna do certified.
Oh, I didn't know if you wanted to do that. I need one more for classified. Julie, no, for classified.
What about Megan?
What did you say it was?
Already on.
Classified.
Oh, I'm ready on it.
Yeah. You wanna do both?
When do these happen?
It depends on,
Usually it's some evening.
yeah, evening, probably we do,
Third week of March.
yeah.
That's not spring break, right?
No, we just wanna get it done before spring break to establish that, and we have time to meet as a group. And, Crystal and I have been working diligently on, you know, what the budget looks like, the admin, we've already gone through one of the contracts, looking at that, so just to catch you guys up, and a lot of the legwork has already been done, so. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Then I'll send out emails to each group, you guys got out of it, so you guys can be on the backside just looking at it.
Pretty sure we busy.
You have that one thing.
Yeah, but that's only from like 5 to 9 or 10.
Before I forget, were we gonna talk a little bit about, recommendations for renewal of contracts? I forgot to add that on there, I apologize. Can we add it on there somewhere before 7? Is that okay? Because I have to excuse myself at 7. I wanted to, and this isn't on there, I do apologize. In the March board meeting, you guys vote to renew contracts, do that for probation and all of that. And what I wanted to do was talk to you guys about the process of that, so it's not a blind, yep, perfect, we sign. Like, we actually go through a pretty extensive process. I mean, it really does start in August, but in December, as an admin group, we sat down, looked at all of the certified and classified contracts, and we said, okay, you know, we started looking at those, we started looking at evaluations, and up to even last week, where we are kind of on the fence about one. And so what I wanted to do is just talk to you guys that know that when I make the recommendation on Monday, it is a recommendation that has been months in the work, and it's not just a, hey, you guys okay, we're okay. Like, we do take them all individually and look at that. And so I just wanted to assure you is that myself and the administration have been working really closely with those certified and classified employees. So, do you guys have any questions before? I know we can't obviously say names, and we can't, well, this person,
Well, that's, I do have a question. If there's somebody that we are concerned about, do we just discuss that with you
yeah.
before the meeting?
Yeah. And that's what I would say. In the past, there was a board member that disagreed with one, saying, I'm not voting for it, I disagree with the whole thing. Right, that's a pretty good interpretation. Or, if you guys know what I was talking about. Anyway, no, it wasn't you. It wasn't you. No,
It was not true.
it was wrong, yeah. But what it looks like is then all employees start saying, well, what's it mean? What's going on? And then the administration start thinking like, okay, do they not, you know, support kind of our recommendation? And absolutely. And so for you guys to know going through that. So if there is a concern, let us know beforehand so I can talk you through our process and those things. Obviously, we won't discuss individuals, you know, their evaluations and things like that, but know that I can walk you through the process on it, so.
Evaluations are completed.
So the very final summative, especially for our contract teachers, will be completed in May, but every teacher from our probationaries all the way up have had at least one informal observation. Our probationaries 1 and 2 have had at least 2 formal observations. Informal is going to the classroom. They go in multiple times, so we're really recording that as evidence. Our formal teachers, a formal observation, they have to have a observation observation meeting, they have an observation, then they have a post-observation, and so it is the formal process. And that is setting it up, and, you know, we as admin think, you know, if we're giving you an opportunity to set up a formal observation, this is your best, and we evaluate as such. Informal, obviously, those are drop-ins that we give them notes on, as we drop in frequently, but that is like, this is evidence that we're gonna use to evaluate you. So everybody has at least one, if not multiple of those.
Okay, so question about that. I would assume this means you're recommending everybody with contracts is going to be renewed, because we haven't heard anything
Correct.
otherwise.
Correct. Yep. For classified and certified, correct.
Okay.
Just those two.
Any other questions on that? Okay, then,
Sorry,
we
thank
will
you.
dismiss you.
Thank you, guys, I appreciate it. I don't have to do that, so I'm happy. These are delicious cookies, by the way, Crystal. Did you try them? Oh my gosh.
Nor did I make them.
Oh, they're delicious.
I'll
Okay.
tell them.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Can we close this?
Yes, please.
It takes a couple more days.
We can take a couple of our,
2-minute break, we need to use the restroom.
we will recess into a short break and be back here in about 6:40.